When people do a study of, for example, the double slit experiment, and they approach the double slit experiment in the traditional way, one particle at a time, a wave function that we can pretend is moving in three-dimensional space, but this is really just an artifact of the fact that configuration space for one particle looks three-dimensional. It looks like you should treat the particle as a wave as it goes through the slits to get the correct pattern over many repetitions of landing sites. We don't actually see a wave on the other side. What we see is dots, many, many landing sites over many repetitions of the experiment. The wave is inferred. But when you measure where the particle is at the end of the experiment, or you measure which hole it goes through, you get a definite result, and that makes it look more like a particle. So there's this idea that sometimes things are particle-like and sometimes they're wave-like, depending on what feature of the system we're trying to study. This became known as wave-particle duality. This is further complicated by the fact that there are waves of a different kind in physics. Electromagnetic waves, for example. Light is a disturbance in the electromagnetic field that propagates like a wave through three-dimensional space. And those are waves. I mean, like I said, I teach Jackson electromagnetism. We talk about waves moving through three-dimensional space. It's very easy to confuse the waves of a field, like the electromagnetic field, with the wave functions or Schrödinger waves of quantum mechanics, but they're not the same thing. And this has bled into the wave-particle duality. When Planck in 1900 and Einstein in 1905 and various people were proposing that light came in quanta, discrete particle-like quanta called photons, the wave that they were imagining was the wave corresponding to photons was a three-dimensional electromagnetic wave, a wave of the familiar kind of wave. The wave functions that Schrödinger introduced in 1926 were not like those waves. They were not three-dimensional waves in physical space of a field. They were these abstract, complex-valued functions in a high-dimensional configuration space. And when you measured them, they collapsed. Now, if you're in an MRI machine and they've turned on a very strong magnetic field, you don't have to worry that if you do the wrong measurement, you're going to collapse the magnetic field in the MRI machine. It's not that kind of field. The waves they're beaming at you are not those kinds of waves. So you have to make a distinction between field waves, the waves of a field, and Schrödinger waves. And I want to make super clear that in the indivisible stochastic approach to quantum mechanics that we've been talking about, I'm saying Schrödinger waves are not real things. These abstract things that live in this high-dimensional configuration space, those are not physically real.